are working, shopping, building, deciding, making news. Yet from 9 to 5, there's been no complete television newscast in the Twin Cities until now. The Noon Report. Half an hour of the latest news, weather, and special reports. Twin Cities, we've got you covered. At noon on 4. Because if you want to be best, you've got to give more.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
How many, just hold this for just, how many were disappointed when they found out that the subject of this morning's show? How many would rather see a movie star or something? How many are tired of this issue always being talked about? Well, you have to explain yourself now. What's the problem? What bothers you about it?
It's just so far away from my life. I can't relate to it.
So as long as it's removed from you, then you can't really develop any enthusiasm or interest.
That's right.
Couldn't we say the same thing, though, about Cambodian refugees? About black people who have to sit on the back of the bus? About kids who can't get into college because...
Yes, we could, but I have more feeling for them.
You do? You don't have feeling for these folks?
Not in the same way,
That's all right.
no.
Do you resent them, or do you upset?
No, I don't resent them. I can't say that at all. I just can't relate to them.
Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you. Anybody else? That's a pretty thunderous disapproval of our show today. Will you stand, please? You want to stand so we can see it, please?
I think it's such a small minority group of people, and we hear about it so much. I think other people have more problems than they do. And I'm getting tired of hearing about it. That's all.
All of our guests today are gay. They are members of, what they are, I don't think you'll be upset if I say you are gay seniors. No. Well, let's find out how you feel about what you've just heard. You are Valerie Taylor.
That's right.
How do you feel about what you heard, Ms.
Well,
Taylor?
I'd like to say first that I think we have a very intelligent-looking audience, and they look as though they'd be amenable to reason. And it's good to share opinions. And I would like to say that every one of you has a gay child, cousin, parent, neighbor, or fellow worker whom you may not identify, so it is not a remote subject.
No, we're 10% of the population.
I want to make sure I know who I'm talking. You are?
Joe Norton.
You're Joe. Tell me, what was your point, Joe?
Well, my point is that actually gays are about 10% of the population. Lesbian and gay men are all over the world. If everybody stopped working who was gay, the world would stop functioning.
Yeah.
So all we're asking is for 10% of their time.
Well, they think they're getting more than that on some programs and in media attention. There's this sense that, well, I think you understand the misgiving that people have about that.
I don't think they're a minority group.
This is Fred Monroe. You're a member of the Senior Action
Yes.
in a gay environment, and you're from New York City.
Right.
What was it you wanted to say, Fred?
I wanted to say, I don't think that the gay community is so much a minority group as it is a lifestyle. You see? I mean, you can have your own opinion about that. I don't claim to be in a minority group. I claim that this is my lifestyle and always has been since, well, way back.
Yeah.
And as far as you're relating, you may not relate to the Mormons in Squedunk, but it's still a fact of life.
Yeah. And numbers really aren't germane, are they? I mean, I think one of the points I guess you want to make here is that you feel that in many cases, you and your colleagues are denied your constitutional rights.
Well, I think so.
So the point is, should that be a matter of the polls? In other words, how many, or numbers aren't germane, are they?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. You know, it's a lot easier to come out of the closet today than it used to be.
Yes, sure is.
I should be telling you that, huh?
Well, sure. Let's say I'm 72 years old as of last September, and I came out of the closet, I would say, when I was 21, but I knew from, let's say, the age of 13 that I was different, and that I was attracted to men, and that I was homosexual. And at first, am I talking too much?
No, you're doing real well. You're doing real well.
At first, you know, I had all the conflicts and the guilt that many young gays have, and had a lot of troubles and depression and uplifts and depression and uplifts and carryings on. And then as I grew older, I accepted it, and I accept it now, and although I don't flaunt it, and I'm not militant, I still am proud of being gay, and I have no qualms about any of it. I don't advertise it, and I don't deny it either.
Yeah. But you tell this story rather in a cavalier way. My sense of it is that this has been a pretty long road for you, huh?
Yes,
Huh?
yes, sure has. Of course, I have my foibles and my faults and everything else.
Well, no, but I mean the pressure on you and the pressure in society. They say we're homophobic. You believe that? You think so, huh? We're afraid of homosexuals.
Yes, there's a real fear, and you know, so then we get labeled illegal, immoral, and sick, and that's quite a load to carry when you're young and to be able to deal with. And I think that the fact that we're survivors, and that having to go through that process really was character building, so that in a sense some favors have been bestowed upon us.
I would be tempted to conclude that most of you spent most of your life in the closet. Be honest.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, now, why is that bad? I assume you want to encourage other gays not to do that, not to live the
Well,
lie.
it's much easier now, and I may say that some of us had first to learn to accept ourselves. At least 3 of us in this group have been married and are grandparents with supportive children and grandchildren. And you have first to learn that you are normal, you are a good person, you're living a constructive life. I think this is a little easier for young gays now, but it still remains a problem.
Let's talk about the marriage issue for a moment. I assume you feel, obviously you love you're one of the married, are you?
I was, yes.
How many kids?
3, all grown up now, and a granddaughter.
Good for you. Now, you love your kids. You love
Very
them,
much.
of course you do.
Very
But
much.
here's the question. I assume that there was a lot of pain in that, huh?
Not with regard to the kids. You see, I write lesbian books, and they fed the kids when they were young. So they were very aware of the whole situation.
Yeah.
And they're very supportive. They take it very much for granted.
But I don't think, what's your free advice to other gays?
Come to terms with yourself and then come out.
But I assume you're not recommending marriage, is that right? Or
Well, I married before I knew I was gay, and I think very many people do that.
really?
And it was a bad marriage in other respects, which I'm not about to go into, of course. But a lot of people marry and then find that they're gay, and then they have this whole mess to straighten out. It's better to know ahead of time and to come out ahead of time if you know.
Yeah.
All right, but in our day and age, nobody talked about sexuality, let alone homosexuality. I certainly was aware of certain feelings that I had, but I had no name for it. I had no word for it. There was no way I could find out what it was, and I knew instinctively I couldn't talk about it.
But as I see you, you know, in a very real way, expressing yourself and feeling good about yourselves and all those positive things, I am moved to wonder about the countless people who are gay and either don't acknowledge it or who are still in the closet. And is it your view that those folks are not breathing as deeply of life as they could be if they would come out of the closet? Is that your point?
Well, clearly the research shows that, in addition to the way we feel, because those gays who are out of the closet are better adjusted according to all the studies than those who are in the closet. Imagine coming home back to work every Monday morning and having to change the pronouns about the weekend and where you went, and instead of saying he, you have to say she, or vice versa. Imagine having to hide a major part of your life from your mother and father and not tell them. I counsel people all the time who are in that state.
Yeah. How long were you in the closet, Joe? About what age?
Well, actually, I have to say I didn't even know I was gay until I was 48. And different from most of the gays. Most of the people I talked to, like Fred, knew they were gay by the time they were 13 or 14. I wasn't even aware of it. I was a very slow learner.
Yeah, well, well, aren't we all, though? But now, so, didn't you have some curiosity about your sexuality?
I think I wondered before I was married, if I were gay, and I remember talking with my classmate who was in our counseling class, and we decided I wasn't, because I had had no experiences, and I'd never really responded physically to anybody, and so I was married, and actually, contrary to Phyllis, had a very good marriage for most of my 24 years of marriage. We had 2 children. Unfortunately, our son died of cancer. But on the other hand, the marriage was good up until the last few years. And certainly delightful to have children and to bring them up. And my daughter is really a very good friend at this point. We get along fine.
So so you could, regarding your own marriage, you could speak as a heterosexual, that your marriage had its satisfying features and so on.
Yeah, I'm obviously, by most definitions, bisexual, since I could respond to either side. But at the moment, I'm quite exclusively same-sex oriented. And it has improved my sex life immeasurably.
Really? You're happier with yourself now because of this you've acknowledged who you are.
Yeah, although I was not unhappy as a heterosexual until, as I was around 48, I suddenly began to realize that I actually was physically responsive to men.
You're counseling other people. You must see a lot of pain, do you?
I do indeed.
Really?
But not all just because they're gay. I counsel couples who are having marital relationship problems. They aren't unhappy because they're gay. They're unhappy because they don't get along with each other.
First of all, I'd like to ask her how old she was when she got married.
I was 25 when I got married. I was 40 when I was divorced for reasons having nothing to do with sexuality. And I was 36 when I had my first lesbian experience. I'd like to say, by the way, if I may at this point, that very many people are bisexual without knowing it. The potentiality for bisexuality is in almost everyone. And if you ladies who feel remote from us don't believe that, remember high school? Remember that crush on that teacher? What would have happened if that teacher had taken you in her arms and kissed you one day? Almost anything could have happened. We push these memories down, but the possibility is there.
Is the caller there?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Donahue. Good morning. I just want to say 2 things about gay people. You remind me a great deal of present-day American car makers trying to get everybody on the bandwagon. Last night on the news, they said, oh, gee, all the car sales in America are up. Everybody go out. They're trying to get a bandwagon effect. I do not believe, and I never will believe, that 10% of the American adults are homosexual. You can say that, and you can talk about bisexuality, and you can talk about teenage crushes, but I'm talking about the average American male, the average American female. I do not believe that 10% of them would rather be in bed, having sexual relations with a person of the same sex.
What do you believe?
I believe, okay, now, I hope nobody laughs because I'm being sincere. I believe there isn't enough love in the world. I believe that there isn't enough understanding.
Well, we're not laughing. We all agree, including the guests. Now, what's your point?
I mean, the point is, when a person becomes so lonely and so desperate, they'll turn to anybody. And I mean, I'm not cutting the average human being down. I'm stating a fact. Right. I'm lonely. A lot of people are lonely. We all get positive strokes, if you want to call it that, the way we can best adjust to it.
So you just don't believe in homosexuality at all, then?
I believe that for people who are maybe a birth defect, where they cannot consummate sex with the opposite sex.
So it's an anatomical thing, then?
Right.
Anybody?
Oh, of course, obviously.
Yes.
I can talk to anything. In the first place, I should like to point out that there is a great deal of love and affection in the gay world. That's why we don't like the word homosexual, because it has the word sex in it. We like to emphasize the affectional orientation as well as the sexual orientation. Of course there's love in the gay world as well as in the straight world. As for it being anatomical and a defect, well, I ski 40 days a year and still am fairly lively at 62, and I don't think I really have any serious defects.
But statistics, I'm sorry, the statistics prove that 10% of the population is gay.
Well, but he's not accepting the statistics.
Well, Kinsey's research showed there were 37% after the age of 18 who had one.
I assume you share the audience's view that this is a program you just as soon do without.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No. Just because I don't agree doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it on.
Right.
Of course have it on. You know, explore all the possibilities.
Okay.
Knowledge is beautiful, but I just want to ask the one person, the gentleman on the far left-hand side.
Yeah.
Sir, where do all these statistics come from? Where? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, I can answer the question fairly quickly. Kinsey did a study in 1948, and 37% of males over the age of 18 had had at least one sexual experience to climax. Kinsey, however, studied only sex. He didn't study love and affection. Morton Hunt has done a study since then which shows proportions somewhat like that.
All right.
There's enough research that
All right.
I
You'll
can
let me
send you a
move on.
word.
I don't want to dismiss your point, and I thank you for your call, and I hope you'll stay with us for the whole show.
Can I ask you one quick question?
Yeah.
I want to ask these four people, does it make those people feel better that they can throw statistics at us? I mean, even if the statistics aren't true or valid.
Well, but... All right. No, they don't feel good throwing bad statistics.
Cut those people down. I love them. They're
All right.
beings.
Thank you very much. Is the caller there?
Yes, Phil. Number one, I would like to comment on the gentleman on the phone beforehand. I am in an industry which does deal with the public on a wide scale. And I disagree when he says that there is, not a 10%. There is more than a 10%, and they are all beautiful people. I love them all.
And your question is?
Question is, I do have very close friends that are gay, but it seems to me after following their relationships over the past, say, 10 years, they are unable to sustain a relationship for more than, say, 2 to 3 years.
Let's get a comment on that. I don't want to cut you short, but yes, ma'am.
I've been in a relationship for 27 and a half years. And I think and I've found that there are many, many lesbian and gay men who have been together for over 20 years.
Well, I'm very concerned with the fact that, I'm concerned about them because it makes them very unhappy. And they look at a long-range thing, and if when they do reach their later years, if they're going to be able to find an individual that they will be happy with for, say, the rest of their life or for a long period of time.
Yeah, they're nodding here. What do you think?
Yes, I have been celibate for several months now, but finally have met a 38-year-old Italian man, not American Italian, but Italian, and we are just getting along fine. I don't know if you'd call it a lover, but there's a certain amount of romance connected with this sex, and I'm very happy about it.
This will last for a period of years, and over and above, say, 2 or 3 years, as with married people.
Yeah. Let me get James Sugarman in here. He's co-president of the Senior Action in a Gay Environment, SAGE, or whatever acronym we want to use. What is the story here? Gay relationships are often volatile, unreliable, unrequited, et cetera, et cetera.
We're coming across a lot of older gay people who have been involved in relationships for a long time. They tend to be an invisible group. They tend to be a group that we don't see, that gay younger people don't see. We don't come from models, from families where we have gay parents. We have to see models, and these models are not visible.
Right. I assume then the more gays that come out of the closet, the more likely it is we'll have stable gay relationships. Is that your point?
Well, I would believe so. I would believe that the more visible the gay population can be, we're definitely going to see many more couples feel more comfortable relating openly.
Is the caller there? Excuse me, just one second. Is the caller there?
Yes, Phil.
Go ahead, briefly.
Fine. I'd like to ask the panel what joys and what frustrations you find in dealing in relationships between older and younger gays. Specifically, I wonder if you ever grow tired of the attitude I find espoused by many younger gays that the gay liberation movement in America started 11 years ago with the Stonewall Rebellion, people who don't appreciate the groundwork that you people have laid.
Well, I was involved with the founding of the Daughters of the Leaders in San Francisco in 1965. The Mattachine Society existed in the 50s, too. And there was a lot of groundwork laid before Stonewall. And in fact, we had a big raid of, when we were starting the Council on Religion and the Homosexual in 65.
What do you mean a big raid?
About 500 lesbians and gay men had to pass a picket line of cops to go to this dance, the fundraiser.
Yeah. Were you knocked around at all, or did it get physical, or?
No, there were some arrests, and for once we had the ministers and their wives there to see what we were really up against.
I'm really long here, but I want to make sure we understand you. Your view is what? That younger gays what?
That often, I think, we fail to appreciate that there was a gay movement in
And that
America.
there were a lot of early folks who were throwing themselves on the sword. And is it your view that they are not appreciated?
I think too often older people in our society are not appreciated, and I think that maybe it's a little bit better between gay older people and gay younger people, but maybe it's not, and that's what I'm asking.
I think really there is a good deal of acceptance by the gay world of the earlier pre-Stonewall history, the pre-1969 riot history. Yeah. It wasn't when it started, but now we're getting the history more. I do have to come back and make a point about the marriage business and staying together, because I counsel divorcees, likewise heterosexual ones. And let me tell you that the pressures against a gay relationship keeping together put on by a hostile society who are tired of hearing us and don't like the topic are so considerable that it's a wonder anybody stays together, as far as I'm concerned. And I think it's fabulous when I meet couples who've been together for 33 years and such. As Jim says, they're out to themselves, but not to the rest of the world, and nobody sees them.
You know, it's a youth-oriented society today, both in the gay world and in the straight world. And I think that older gays are getting more and being more and more appreciated as time goes on. We certainly feel better with ourselves, with the wisdom of age, and so forth. Incidentally, my father, you can stop me in a minute.
All right.
My mother died when I was 17 years old. She was 42 when she died. My father, I told him at the age of, I don't know, 19, 20, I was gay. And you know, he was very avant-garde. He was very sympathetic.
Really? You must have been scared to death.
Well, yeah, I had all this guilt and complex, but I wanted to tell him.
You're my son and I love you, huh?
Yes, I'm an honest person, and I have to speak honestly. He did say to me, try not to be promiscuous. Get yourself one or two, love it, whatever. But that was very unusual in that day and age.
We are in Chicago, and the issue is gay seniors. What do you think? Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
We hope you'll join us.
Paladin presents Martha Ray, movie star, denture wearer.
Folks, I've used Paladin for years, but now there's something that cleans my dentures even better. It's fantastic. New Extra Strength Paladin. Watch it work on this tough lab stain. New Extra Strength Paladin has 50% more of a special stain remover. 50% more. Gets those stains clean, even in between. So take it from a big mouth. New Paladin Green gets tough stains clean with extra strength.
Morning, Pam. New Maxwell House Master Blend coffee?
It's the new ground coffee that can save us money.
Well, saves money, fine, but how does it taste? That means it tastes like Maxwell House.
New Maxwell House Master Blend, 100% pure ground coffee. Not concentrated, not flaked. We make it a special way so you can save money.
Great coffee.
I know.
New Maxwell House Master Blend, great tasting coffee that can save you money.
This Career Network report comes from Normandale Community College in Bloomington. If you've been out of high school or college for some time, but have gained a great deal of knowledge through everyday experiences, then consider Normandale's unusual program, Competency-Based Education. It's an unconventional program which gives students maximum flexibility in developing their own educational goals and the means to achieve them. Once in the program, you may design your own education based on previous experience, coursework, skills, or employment needed to reach your goals. Also unique is the emphasis on results. Your progress is recorded not by traditional credit hours and grades, but by statements of achieved competence. For further information on this unique program, call Normandale Community College at 830-9300. This is John Gallis. Join us for our next Career Network report on Channel 4.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the gentleman on the end, how should I accept, say, for instance, my parents would tell me now that they were gay. How should I accept that after, you know, all these years being my mom and dad and loving them both?
Well, what do you think? How do you think? You're asking it as a, you know, as a rhetorical. Yes. Well, how would you feel?
I'd be shocked. My first instinct would be to reject the whole idea. I can't believe that something like that would really exist.
Yeah.
Especially with someone you love.
Yeah. Why, we understand you're shocked, but what would be your feelings of, would you think they were bad?
Yes.
Why? Tell me why.
Because I find it so hard to believe. It's really hard for me to believe that things like this go on.
Yeah.
In society in general.
Yeah. Things like this. What? Is it a sin?
In my mind, yes, it is a sin. That God didn't create it to be that way.
Wait a minute. You think it's a sin?
Yes, I do, because we should, I'm your...
I am too. That's all right. In other words, what happens if a person finds out that they're gay?
Adam and Eve, okay?
Yeah.
And Jesus created them, Adam and Eve, and they were to make children. Two men can't make children, and two women can't make children, and you can't be grandmother if you can't have children. If everybody...
What should these people do then?
Well, boy, I'm really not sure, but going around talking about it and advertising it just wouldn't be my cup of tea.
How many heterosexuals don't make children?
There's really no sin in homosexuality. I don't agree with the other two women. But the sin that I see is the fact that they exploit themselves so terribly. Well, the fact that he describes his lovers or his sex life, to me, that's so personal. How he's...
But if he were straight, pardon the prejudicial word, and said, I'm a widower, and how old are you, Fred?
72.
And he's 72, and he said, I just met an Italian woman, an Italian woman, and we're getting, and you'd all...
60-some?
Yeah. You'd feel real good about it.
No, because 38, to me, that's...
It's the age thing that bothers you.
That could be a problem. I mean, that...
What if he meets a 72-year-old gay person? Can he have a relationship and say how good it is for him?
Yeah, that's fine if he tells me if you know, he has a relationship as far as, you know, we're getting along wonderfully, but he goes into it more as far as lovers and all that. I don't want to hear about my grandmother's lovers, you know, whether they be men or female.
I didn't go into detail. I just made a simple statement, that's all. I didn't go into detail.
And the problem is that we're all uncomfortable that our parents were sexual. You see, we don't want to know about our parents having sex because we were taught not to.
I don't want my friends to know about my sex life. I mean, you know, it's not to be commercialized, I don't think.
Could any of you been helped in your childhood by your parents before all this started?
Helped? How do you mean?
Well,
Is it your view they need help?
no, like going to a psychiatrist or a doctor in your childhood, I mean.
No,
the evidence shows no, that it simply cannot be done.
Not in my childhood, but I went to a couple of psychiatrists in my 20s to straighten things out. But my parents, like I say, my mother died when I was 17, and my father was very supportive, and it was all right.
But you're a rare case.
I am.
Yeah. Well,
I am.
They must have detected.
Well, in that sense.
Bill, I'm the author of the book Battered Wives, and I'd like to talk about what you can do with your children. Part of the problem of the husband battering the woman is over the homophobia, where we're rearing boys to be macho, and they've got to be strong, and they've got to really have power over that woman. And that stems from homophobia, fear of us, which I can't understand.
Now, hold it. Let's make sure we understand this. Husbands beat their wives because they're afraid?
I say out of the stereotypical upbringing, which makes them, where they have to be strong, macho, be in charge, and so on.
Well, is a wife beater insecure about his
Yes,
own
very
sexuality?
insecure about his masculinity.
Yeah.
And then that's what the result. And it's that fear then of gays which helps to cause heterosexual problems. And I'd like you to be aware of that.
Why do you suppose we're so afraid of you?
I don't know.
I can answer that.
Yes,
I think.
Fowler.
May I have a try? Sure. Because everyone has a hidden, often unrecognized homosexual potential, a component which often is not developed, but it's there, we feel guilty about it, and we're afraid of it.
Now, is our guilt culturally induced? Or
It's culturally
do you think so?
induced, yes. I would like to point out, by the way, while we're at this, that heterosexuals flaunt their sexuality. When a young woman becomes engaged, her engagement and her marriage are reported in detail in the newspapers. She changes her name. Both parties usually wear wedding rings. Why are we not entitled to be as open about our sexuality as you are about yours? When you go to a wedding, what the people are saying is, in effect, these two people may now have sex together.
Hang on.
Why can't we?
Well, I just can't take this. I mean, you say, why? Well, it's just so unreal. Today when I came, I certainly didn't know what it was going to be all about. And when I thought, oh, senior citizens and this, I didn't think it would ever happen. And I'm just floored that this has really taken on. And you have a dog, and the dog is fussier than we do things like this. I mean, I'm floored.
Why?
Can't believe. I can't believe to see you.
What should they do?
People,
They're nice people, and that's confusing you.
it's bothering me to the point that I can't believe it's ever happened like this.
Yeah. You'd feel better if they were kind of, you know, cranky.
Or so.
So you want to like them, don't you?
Yes, I do.
What's holding you back from liking them?
Because what they sitting there and talking about this happening.
What would you do if you were one of them?
I wouldn't be one of them. Sorry. I'm sure I would not. I don't know. But like I say, I don't think I'd sit here and let everybody hear about it.
What if you found out one of your best friends?
Well, I don't know what to answer you, Phil, really. I'm just...
Would you drop that person as a friend?
Well, I wouldn't be to the point where I'd say I'd drop them completely, but I would stay away from social activities.
You wouldn't see them as often.
Right.
We'll be back in just a moment. Thank you.
I'm a 34C. I'm a 34C.
So am I.
Bally knows even if they wear the same size bra, every woman has a different shape. So Bally has a unique custom fit system. Bras to fit your special shape, not just your size. To flatter you and make you
Pretty. Only Bally has it. So Bally bras fit your shape.
Not just your size. Bally.
Hi, this is Bob Barker inviting you to the Bob Barker Fun and Game Show at the Minnesota State Fair, Falcon Heights, St. Paul on Labor Day, September 7th at 3 p.m. I'll select contestants from right out of the audience to compete for gifts worth thousands of dollars. You'll have an opportunity to compete for fabulous gifts no matter where you're seated. The Bob Barker Fun and Game Show at the Minnesota State Fair on Labor Day, September 7th at 3 p.m.
Furniture World presents a manufacturer's furniture disposal at the Met Center tonight with a big 6-hour kickoff from 6 to 12 midnight. Here's the story. Furniture World has teamed up with several manufacturers and wholesale distributors and filled the Met Center with name brand furniture. Delivery is available, but save even more if you take your purchases with you. Visa, Master, and Shoppers charge will be accepted during the manufacturer's furniture disposal tonight, 6 to 12 midnight at the Met Center in Bloomington.
2 prescriptions for the same antibiotic from a famous name pharmaceutical company. Exactly alike in every way, except that one came from a careful neighborhood registered pharmacist. The other came from a careful Kmart registered pharmacist. The pharmaceuticals are the same. The care is the same. The quality is the same. But at a Kmart family pharmacy, the Kmart price gives you an extra reason to smile. Kmart, your family pharmacy.
Caller there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to say that shows like this scare me to death because I have 2 little girls, and I can't stand to see this myth being perpetrated that homosexuals are normal and there's nothing wrong with it. What's wrong with showing a little restraint? Keep yourself in the closet. I do not express my heterosexual views openly like this on TV, and I see no reason why these people should go on nationwide television. It scares me. This is not the norm. I do not want my 2 little girls, ages 8.5 and 10, growing up becoming homosexuals.
Well, tell me, I don't understand your concern about your little girls. Is it your view that they might catch it by watching it?
It appears to me that programs like this perpetrate the myth that everything is perfectly normal, and someday when you grow up, you too can become a homosexual. I absolutely forbid it. And
in other words, if this gets to be kind of popular, everybody will want to do it.
You got it, just like
Huh?
Just like promiscuity today. The children, are led to believe that sex is okay before marriage and early on in their teens, and then we have pregnancies and so forth. If homosexual becomes the norm, then people will go on assuming, well, that's the normal way of life.
Right. Have you ever talked to a homosexual?
Pardon me?
Have you ever talked to a homosexual?
A close friend of my husband's, whom we didn't know at the time was homosexual, neither did he. A few years after, well, actually about 2 years ago, we found out that he was homosexual. He had 2 children, a boy and a girl.
Right.
and we no longer see him anymore. He was a very nice man. I really liked him, but I really pity him. I feel sorry for him. He should have kept it to himself.
Why wouldn't you want to see him anymore?
Because, well, for one thing, he was a very nice man. He was very artistic, and I kind of suspected that he was for a long time, but my husband reassured me, no, he was perfectly normal. Boasted about his heterosexual relationships.
Right.
And,
But, I mean, why wouldn't you, just as a friend, extend your hand to that person? And
well, I suppose if he ever needed me, I would try to be there, but to be a friend on a regular basis, I just couldn't do it. I would be afraid for my husband that he would approach him.
Are you more concerned about a gay person approaching your husband than you are about a secretary, female type, approaching him?
This other person who approached him. That's why I would not want him to do that.
Right.
I mean,
Is it? Do gays do that? Do homosexual men kind of?
well, it happened to my husband at this friend's party. That was one of my suspicions, that he was a homosexual, because there were a great deal of homosexuals at this party. We did not leave. I mean, it was only a suspicion. I'm not going to, falsely accuse someone.
But again, is it more? Are you more threatened by a man approaching your husband than a woman?
Probably not, but let's put it this way. What kind of competition am I if there were another man involved? I'm not afraid for myself, but I know my husband's temper, and I tend to think he would get a little upset. Actually, he did get upset. It happened at a party we were at. A male approached him. I was serving drinks behind the bar, and he said, "Get out here fast, because some bozo's trying to put the make on me." And I said...
Really? Well, did you get out there and stop the bozo? Huh?
Yes, I did. It wasn't that he's insecure. He's a very masculine man. I mean, actually, I think he found it a little funny, thank heavens. But who knows? The right person might come along and he might say, "Who do you think you are? Get lost."
Yeah.
So
well,
women
I give you the members of the United States Supreme Court here today.
Women are often approached by men that they don't want to have anything to do with, and they learn to say no. Why can't men who are approached by men learn that?
The lady says we should stay in the closet. There'd be an awful lot of unhappy people if we stayed in the closet. An awful lot.
She has the point that she's afraid her children will catch it from the gays on the panel, and obviously sexual orientation is established by the time you're somewhere between 3 and 5. I couldn't teach you to be lesbians if I wanted to, because it's something that you just feel inside. It's not something you learn.
Hang on. Hang on just a second.
I was wondering if your children ran into a lot of problems. Once you came out of the closet, if a lot of people ridiculed them or gave them any problems.
Briefly, please.
Well, my daughter was married by the time I came out, so she didn't have that problem. And I never answered her question about what to do if your parents come out. My daughter's getting along fine. As a matter of fact, she happens to get along with me, I think, as well or better than she does with her mother. But I put no demands on her and don't expect much of her.
Over here.
I'd just like to know, when you approach another gay person, how do you tell? Is there an emotion that you feel? Or because looking at you people by characteristics, you can't tell that you're gay.
You don't look gay.
No.
That's usually one of the problems is they always say it takes one to know one, but that's not necessarily true, and we really need to find people that can introduce us
On the
to
other
each
hand,
other.
I was taught by some younger people in the gay lib about things like extended eye contact and where to go find people that might look at you a little longer and how to make approaches. One couple met in church 33 years ago.
About the Kinsey statistics and 10%, you really have to be careful when you talk about statistics. First of all, anything that is...
What's the difference? Suppose it's 5. Suppose it's 25. What's the difference?
Let me make my point. With statistics, in his report, anything that is even curiosity among children is counted, bang, homosexuality.
The figure I quoted was after the age of 18, 30% of males have had one homosexual experience to climax. That's not children.
The lady on the end said, why are people, you're frightened of us, why don't you like this? Well, when the cameras were off, the comment she made was, I would love to see it spread and grow. And I think people who have family orientation, such as I have, see this as a natural. It is not a family way of life, although you would like us to feel that it is normal and it is a family way of life.
She wants it to spread so that people become enlightened. We're not fostering our sexuality on you and you not on us. She wants it to spread so that the people will know this is a day of enlightenment. Everything is in the open, which is wonderful.
The perception is that you're out there cheerleading and making it easy for all these impressionable young people to become gay, and that's what frightens me.
No, that's cannot proselytize. It doesn't work, as I just said. I couldn't teach you to be gay if I wanted to.
And we'll be back.
Actually, one reason I'm here is to try to reach some of the other gay seniors so that they know that there is a network that they can reach.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Did I do something to make you nervous?
Yeah, you won 2 Grammys and an Academy Award.
Oh, they're playing a song. Oh, yeah, they're playing a song. And when they're playing a song, everybody's got to shh, shh. If he really knew me.
If she really, truly knew me.
Don't miss it. The Neil Simon, Marvin Hamlish, Carol Bayer Sager hilarious Broadway musical hit. They're Playing Our Song, starring Richard Rider and June Gable.
Tickets at Donaldson's and the Orpheum. Call 339-1800.
If you want to look good this fall, take a good look at White Stag's soft suede blazer at Donaldson's, where good looks are in good company.
Maplewood Mall, take 3.
I enjoy the variety of women's fashions here. They're always up to date. The merchandise here is of good quality, and that's important to me.
The history of rock and roll. 52 hours of music and memories. Beginning Friday, September 4th on FM 103.
A message from First Lady Nancy Reagan.
I'd like to tell you about a program that I think deserves your support. The Foster Grandparent Program brings together volunteers who have time and love to give with those who need these gifts the most. Our senior citizens are given the chance to be wanted once again, a reason for getting up in the morning, a purpose to life. The children they help, handicapped, abused, or disturbed, are given a better chance to live a normal life and the extra love and attention they need. The community saves money on institutional costs. I worked with this program for many years, and I know what it does for each side. I believe it deserves to grow, and it can, with increased private support. Find out how you can help.
For more information, write Foster Grandparent Program, Washington, D.C. 20525.
With gay seniors. These folks came up through the ranks. How do you want to say this? They were in the trenches of this early political effort at a time when it's still no picnic to be gay, but it's a lot easier now than it used to be. And I think one of the reasons they're here and out front and all those other things is that you don't want to see all those barriers thrown up against the people who are younger, and you'd like to see more people be free to make choices without regard to prejudice and so on.
Right.
James Sugarman, co-president of the Senior Action in a Gay Environment. That's a SAGE. That's New York City.
It's New York City, and it's 170 volunteers serving older gay people.
Now, you provide escorts, is that right?
We provide escort service.
Now, this is a security thing, not necessarily a social thing, huh?
It is an all-social service agency serving older gay people. Group services, escort services, friendly visiting services. It's older and younger gay people working together. It's helping older gay people feel good about themselves, feeling that they're accepted, feeling they can be themselves in a gay environment.
You are funded by the United Fund.
We are funded by private foundations and contributions, and that has helped us move where we are today, but it is essentially a volunteer effort, and it's volunteers helping older gay people.
But the fact that you're a United Appeal agency, or whatever do they call it in New York, United Fund?
United Way.
United Way is a breakthrough, isn't it?
Sure.
For us, it was a breakthrough.
Well, but I mean, see, they're really shocked by this. Is that right? You don't like that?
Oh, no.
Huh?
No.
You don't like that? You want to stand for just a moment?
I don't like to use funds for the, yes. And I have one more question. I'd like to know.
Our funds all the time.
I think we're very concerned, as you indicate, for this. This is social services, like you support other minority groups or other groups, period, Jewish groups, Italian groups. We're very concerned about providing services for people so they can feel comfortable in an environment where they're welcome and they can be themselves.
Well, I have a question, yes. I'd like to know if the time when they are looking for a partner or lover, they are approaching anybody or just homosexuals?
Can I answer that, Phil?
Sure you
Because
can.
we hit that all the time. When you are looking for someone with whom to have a romance, are you looking for just anyone or only men, assuming that you're straight? Naturally, we are looking for people who will be responsive to us. And I would like to say that homosexuality, of which I know a little more about lesbianism, obviously, is not merely what you do in bed. I mean, how much time does anybody spend making love, gay or straight? It's a relationship which is emotional, it's social, it's empathetic. Cultural. It should be a whole personality relationship, exactly as you find in straight relationships. I assume you're not running into a bar 5 afternoons a week to pick up a man and go home with him and go to bed.
Yes, I like to say that I'm not discriminative toward gays, and that the fact you're uninhibited is really good, you know. But going back to when you first found out you were gay, what really is it that makes you want to go to another man or woman? I mean, is it a bad relationship or experience in your marriage or with someone else, or what is it?
You fall in love.
No, but she wants to know what makes a person gay.
And obviously the answer is nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
The research has been, why do some people love redheads and other blondes? It's a question that we can't do research on because you get...
It's instinctive. If nobody knows.
Is the caller there?
Yeah, Phil. They're talking about how they don't broadcast it, and there they are sitting on TV.
Yeah.
I feel that it's a shame that they feel that they need special treatment. Marching in Chicago for gay rights, maybe straight people should have a parade for our rights.
Right. Well, what do you want them to do? Just shut up?
Well, we don't walk around, you know, complaining and carrying on. Everybody's fighting over rights here, and I...
Okay, well, we're trying to get your feelings here. You don't you don't want them on television?
No.
Okay. So should there be a law against them being on television?
No, it's not that. I mean, I'm not on TV because, you know, I don't do anything out of the ordinary, but I just feel that all our rights are being spread so thin. You know, the blacks want rights for this, and the gay people want rights for that.
Yeah. What is your heritage?
My heritage?
Yeah. Are you Irish? From where did you come? Your folks?
57. I'm a little bit of everything. I guess more than German than anything else.
Yeah. Well, you know, the point I guess I want to make is that don't all of us have, in our own background, stories that we could tell about our grandparents who were jerked around by people who didn't like their last name or the way they looked or the neighborhood from which they came or the country or their flag or their funny dances or their strange music?
Well, maybe the point I'm making is we all have our problems, you know, but we all don't jump on TV and complain about it, you know?
I see.
So we can all get special treatment of some kind or another.
Yeah.
We don't want special treatment. We want the same treatment as everybody else. I'd like to ask that lady on the telephone if she's heterosexual.
Are you heterosexual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she has a right to say on public television that she's heterosexual, why do we not have a right to come in and say we're homosexual? Equality is all
I'm sorry we have to break. We'll be back in just a moment.
Recently, in blind taste tests held in malls across the nation, Diet Cola drinkers tested the 3 leading Diet Colas. Diet Pepsi didn't win. Tab didn't win. Diet Right Cola did win. In fact, more people preferred the taste of Diet Right than either of the others. Taste the one that won. Delicious Diet Right Cola. It's got what it takes to beat the best.
College Town is the fashion brand that knows a woman can be a junior.
Chef V.G. Linden, Jr. Judge H.T. Brenner, Jr. I'm E.L. Packard, Jr. Those kids all the way, okay? And I'm Detective M.C. Durier, Jr.
College Town, because you don't stop being a junior when you become a woman. See the current junior-sized College Town fashions at fine stores everywhere.
Folks used to race, river boats. Of course, if Uncle Ben's was to race it, it'd sure be a winner. Take Uncle Ben's converted brand rice. Uncle Ben steams every grade, removes stickiness, and seals in the natural brand goodness. It's hard to beat Uncle Ben's when it comes to making rice fluffy and perfect.
Are we gonna race this?
When you're grown, son. So, eat your Uncle Ben's.
When only the best will do, say Uncle Ben.
A whole new world opens up the day your child takes his first steps. Oh, he'll stumble, but with your help and love, he'll make it. At Stride Right, we make shoes in lots of sizes and widths to allow feet to develop naturally during the important growing years. At Stride Right, we have the shoes to take him as far as he can go. Stride Right, when you want the best for your child.
Available at Dayton's.
One question for those of you who are parents up there. Now, I'm glad that you are very accepting of yourselves, and that's terrific because all of us could feel better about ourselves. We always want what's best for our children, and knowing what you do about how difficult it has been for you, would you like it for your children to follow your same lifestyle and your grandchildren?
I would not want to push my child into either direction. That has to come from the self and the identification of the child.
Obviously.
And we were pushed to be heterosexual. It didn't work. And so
Well,
I think that you need to be aware of that.
Obviously, but you want what's best for your child.
Certainly,
You know how
and that
difficult
child
it's been
has
for
to
you.
know who that child is. So
Yeah.
it has to come from within. That's where it came from with us.
And the difficulties are less than they used to be, and I wouldn't worry if my granddaughter decided to be a lesbian. I know
Joe,
I'd
what
have
point
to
did you want to make about
I wanted to make a point about older gays because we haven't talked about being older, and there's a myth that the older gay is lonesome, desolate, deserted, despairing, depressed, and sexless, and so on. This is a myth. The research and the facts simply show that older gays have a different system. We actually end up meeting people, having a circle of friends, a support network.
Assuming you're out of the closet.
That's right. And the ones who are in the closet that Jim talked about, you see sometimes have each other, or you stay in the closet and are unhappy.
Yeah, but Joe, here's the thing here's the stereotype we have. A gay person who's hiding it is a person who looks for gay opportunities or contacts or relationships in a public washroom somewhere. That's the image we have.
Well,
now you're a poet. The point is, this is not to say naughty, naughty. It is rather, I assume, to say that you don't want this either, do you?
Well, again, this is the stereotype. I have never been to a tea room, as they're called, but there are people who have been forced by a hostile society that this is the only place they can find anybody. I don't happen to like them myself.
I'd like to ask a question, whether the gay men feel themselves better accepted by women than by other men in the general society, and the vice versa with the lesbians.
I would like to answer that. I have a lot of straight friends, married couples, single, wonderful straight friends, not just fly-by-nights, and they're all hep to my gayness. And I have a lot of gay friends of all ages, and I love to be with younger people. It makes me feel young. I have gay friends in their 20s and 30s and 40s and older. And I will say that I get along just as well with my straight friends. I love the company of women. I love straight people, and I love the gay people, period. Sorry.
I'm just appalled at the reaction of this audience today, and I think it's because they're frightened. They really don't know what it's like to be gay.
Good.
And I think it's the same thing with anybody that's different than themselves. And I think that we have friends that are gay, and we like them because they're very interesting, they're very intelligent, and we like being with them.
But you're not surprised by the response, are you?
I'm surprised by it, yes.
You thought what?
I didn't think that it would be as large as it is today. I didn't think the whole audience
You didn't think
that
what?
way. I really do. I think that people are just frightened with the unknown. And if they got to know people,
But they don't want to know.
How many disagree with this woman? We'll be back in just a minute.
Wilson's new symbol of quality celebrates what Wilson in your kitchen becomes. Our hams bake into banquets. Our franks become feasts. Our bacon fries up into symphonies of sensory delight. To become this good, we've got to be very, very picky. And that's why only our best becomes Wilson.
See the Lazy Boy collection in just one stop. And the Lazy Boy Showcase Shop.
Slumberland's entire selection is cut in price for the big factory-authorized clearance sale going on right now. You save on every style and every fabric. Prices start at an unbelievable $176. So come to Slumberland today and save on that famous Lazy Boy comfort and quality.
The selection and the savings never stop. And the Lazy Boy Showcase Shop.
Bittersweets. It's a new makeup mood from Elizabeth Arden. Watch the woman who's naughty, yet nice. Watch the makeup. Alluring lips betray innocent eyes. Dazzling cheeks play up smoldering shadows. Bittersweets, new from Elizabeth Arden. Watch for it.
Available at Dayton's.
Sometimes this is Ann Rubinstein's desk, and sometimes you'll find Tony Sappel there. Unless Karen Boros is using it, or Tom Hendrick, or Barb Braun, or any of the other people in the WCCO television newsroom. See, you don't need great surroundings to produce a great newscast. You need great people. And that's what you get 5 times a day on Channel 4. If you want to be best, you've got to give more.
If you would like a written transcript of today's program, send $2.50 in check or money order to Donahue Transcripts, Box 2111, Cincinnati, Ohio 45201. Include the subject or the name of the guest with your request.
Senior Action in Gay Environment address is 487A Hudson Street, New York City. The zip is 10014. Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say that I think that it's wrong to say that these people go to lounges and things like that to find a mate, because these people are all gay, are all from different walks of life, and I'm sure they're looking for the right mate.
Yeah, they agree.
I'd just like to make the point that we would like to be let into hospitals to see our lovers when they're in intensive care, and many hospitals will only let relatives in and do not recognize gay relationships. It's very sad to die alone when your lover isn't let in the door.
What is the other problem that faces the gay senior? I mean, what would be the difference between a gay senior and a gay heterosexual? I mean, what are the special problems of the gay senior?
I think the special problems are relating to the ability to feel comfortable in an environment where you can be yourself. And I think that's the opportunity that we provide at SAGE, Senior Action in a Gay Environment.
Right. Well, one woman said the horror to her would be in a nursing home or something where all she had left was her memories and nobody there to share it with.
Right. We're glad you were here. We thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I hope this audience understands that you're free to continue this discussion. We thank you for your contribution to our program, however negative was your initial reaction to it. And have a nice day, everybody.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
Ever wonder why you're not seeing rebate ads from Volvo? Simple. When you build the right kind of car, you don't have to pay people to buy it.
Super scrubbable True Test Easy Care Latex flat wall and trim finish. Perfect for both walls and woodwork. Sold only by True Value hardware stores and home centers.